Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. We're more than concerned that all the fossil fuels we've been burning are disrupting the ecology of the planet, to say the least. Anything like climate change can be hard to prove tangibly, and you will have deniers with counter-evidence. But whether you believe in it or not, it's almost moot. Now, a lot of you know about, and I've mentioned many times before, asymmetric investments. This is when the potential return on investment outweighs the probability. So let's look at climate change. Worst case scenario, if it's real, well, let's face it, it's pretty bad. Sea levels rising and wiping out a large amount of the world's largest cities. This is devastating. But then there is the actual cost of losing all these cities and resources, not to mention infrastructure. Anyway, obviously we can go on and on about just how bad and costly it could be. If the cost of fixing climate change and saving the society we know is perhaps 2% of global GDP, then this would be considered an asymmetric investment. Besides, why do we want any pollution in our cities anyway? What's wrong with a future with cleaner air and water? We have been misdirected for the last century on what is important and what makes us happy in life. The deceivers are the marketers and advertisers that have convinced us to part with our hard-earned money to buy things that we don't really need, often with money we don't actually have. Also, these items tend to only offer temporary joy. But this is the economy we have. It requires these continual purchases in order to sustain. Governments also require this for tax. Therefore, it is in everyone's best interest if we could simply spend more and consume more. It's what makes the world go around. But we're now coming to our senses. We're waking up and starting to rethink the way the world works, and taking a look at the destructive path we're currently taking. From here, it will become about marketing too, but not necessarily advertising, perhaps more of a movement, in that it's cool to care about the planet and our children's future, rather than looking like you can afford to keep up with the latest design trends. Tesla made EVs cool. Okay, it's not as if every time you buy a Tesla, 1,000 trees get planted or anything. No, buying Teslas will still deplete the planet's resources. It's just that once consumed, it is sustainable and eventually recyclable. With cars that do not need to be regularly replaced with the current designs and trends. Oh, and cars that do not pollute. Well, not whilst driving or where you live and breathe. Of course, a lot of the power used to charge EVs still comes from fossil fuels, but we have to start somewhere. And that's just it. Consumers and governments have decided that EVs are the best solution we have today, aside from other various clean energy alternatives such as hydrogen. Therefore, governments are investing in EV infrastructures and incentives. This is the best option we have now, so we're going all in on it. Basically, we have no choice. Something has to be done soon. We have to do something about the level of carbon in the atmosphere. We've decided to go with clean energy, and over the next decade or two, the entire world is going to be transitioning off our dependence on fossil fuels. It would appear that climate change is going to be taking an important seat of governments across the globe for the foreseeable future. We've become a globe dependent on energy. Life used to be really tough, and even not that recent ago, only 1 century ago. A time that some of your grandparents were probably around. How the world has changed since then. Life has become dramatically easier, so much so, we can even incorporate the word leisure into our lives. This can be attributed to inventions of machines, but since the inception of electricity, machines have become more abundant. They do more for us than ever. Soon, they will even also drive us places autonomously. We can't begin to imagine a life without machines. Going back to that hard, back-breaking work each day, walking miles just for some fresh water and having to carry it back again. Now we're dependent on machines. No one is going to make us give up the machine. So much so that we're literally prepared to destroy the planet over it, if necessary. There'll be no going back to the old life. Therefore, we have to replace the existing machines to run on renewable energy. For transport, we seem to have decided that battery-powered electric cars are the best solution. But why? Why not hydrogen? Hydrogen was a fool's errand. It just takes too much energy to make hydrogen, and that energy would mainly come from fossil fuels. Sure, a lot of people also charge their EVs on fossil fuels too, but I believe the miles driven per BPUs required to make hydrogen are less than that for charging an EV. In other words, EVs are better than hydrogen for climate change. But not only that, you have to look at the infrastructure. There are very few hydrogen stations. There is not a network set up for it, whereas electricity to charge your car is ubiquitous. Also, hydrogen is one of the most flammable elements on the planet. I'm not convinced how safe it would be in an accident. Ideally, it would be great if we could just have cars that ran on water. I wonder if that really was possible, like Stanley Meyer claimed with his water-powered buggy, up until his suspicious death. So they may not be perfect, but BEVs is what we're going for now. That is what the entire transport system will eventually become over the next decade or so. Everything powered by battery. But the climate crisis is alarming, and we need to pick a lane. BEVs will stop the carbon emissions from vehicles. Personally, it looks like the right solution to me, and the entire world looks ready to come aboard. It might even become a race of nations to prove just who is the best. Hey, I have no problem nations competing over whose citizens have the most electric cars. It sure beats the arms race, if you ask me. This is more game theory. But to set a benchmark as most futuristic country being the one showing they're the most ahead when it comes to renewable energy with solar farms, battery energy storage, solid charging infrastructure, and affordable EVs, well, that is good motivation for nations to head in the right direction, spurred on from the popularity and encouragement of the citizens. Yes, the main disadvantage with EVs is batteries. We still need something like 100 times more batteries produced a year. That is huge. It will obviously be a great economic driver, which might compensate for other crumbling energy and auto businesses. But as these huge industries fall, they will in turn free up resources. Engineers may move from oil and ice industries to solar and battery. We have to stop burning fossil fuels, and we have to maintain transportation. EVs appear to be the best solution, so that's why. Governments are behind the movement and will offer all necessary incentives. As we see more effects of climate change, then I would guess that these incentives will continue to increase and more efforts will be made. It is clear to me that EVs are going to be the future, and it's not just the fact that they create zero emissions. EVs are just a better way to power transport. And, of course, these advantages are improving at an exponential rate. Tesla irrefutably have the lead over absolutely every other company. Not only that, with their new batteries, they're now able to grow at 10 times their previous pace, which was still faster than the competition's current pace. That's right, the 4680 batteries allow Tesla to grow at an order of magnitude faster than they can now, literally leaving anything that remotely resembles competition left for dust. The future is electric. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.